Okay, recording this one for YouTube in case it happens to go very well. We're going to take one final run at this Arena Open off stream with Mardu Yorion, which is a deck that I will have covered for you in the intro if we end up uploading this one to YouTube. So you can get all the information you need about it there and find the deck list in the description below. Final run. Shouldn't really be doing this one, but hopefully it pays off for us. We'll see. We'll see. Might be nice to get some content that's exclusive for YouTube's if we are so lucky. I will play first. This is fine on a 7 on the play. Sorry. Turn 2 expert. Any land means the hand is operational. Obviously, we'd prefer to draw lands more than anything else, but lead on swamp here. If we draw a land, we want it to inform whether we need a second white or a second black or so on and so forth. Opponent leads on Indiatha Triome. That's not one that I was expecting. Could be a number of things, I guess. Looking for land number 3 here, pretty bad now. Got the swamp, sure. Value. Family Night. So just green-black adventures, I imagine. Nice to find our land. It is a tapped one, though, which makes this turn really easy. I'm just going to pop this knight out of the way. And we'll work our way towards Omen of the Sun next turn, probably. Question here is if I get red, or if I'm supposed to get second white. I think I'm fine to get red. I should draw a white land before I can cast Yorion. Like that, for example. So happy to attack for 1 here. And pass the turn, see how our opponent chooses to respond to the scenario they find themselves in. Two seconds. So no attackers from the opponent. Okay, they're just passing the turn. So I can just flash in this Omen here. And I'll leave the other Omen for now, mainly because there is no target unless my opponent chooses to kill something. If they choose to randomly kill this expert, it's actually very good for me. They don't. I think attacks here are fine. Any random flash threat I'm not expecting, I can just Skyclave afterwards. It's pretty happy to pass the turn again here. Maybe opponent isn't just straight up adventures. Or maybe they've just got a very clunky draw that's like top heavy. But like no questing beast, no rancor, no nothing. Like a little confused by what's going on here. If this is like Elder Gargaroth or something though, we could be in a bit of a sticky situation because we're not we're not in a position to handle it. Vivian. Okay, hopefully we can go wide around this one and still kill the Vivian anyway. Sorry, just getting bothered by notifications. This is what happens when I'm done streaming for the day. I just get bombarded by people, which is lovely, but a bit annoying when you're trying to make some content. Hoping my opponent wants to trade for the expert here. Would be nice. Land 5 is a very good one. I think I keep this expert on top as well. It's kind of close though. Gonna alpha the Vivian, get it off the table. Please block the real creature. That would be great, thank you. So I can put this in my hand and Omen of the Dead that back at the end of the turn if I'd like. Kind of don't want to see another Vivian. The Great Henge. That one is a bit of an issue. Could do with an answer to that. We'll take 3, that's fine. Let's pick up this Acquisitions Expert. Shouldn't have kept this. Keeping this was bad, I think. Pretty sure I just noodle here. No, it's best, but unfortunately the Skyclave can't handle the Great Henge or anything similar, so let's just try and build a board. And then hopefully we draw a black source and we can like double expert and make our keep less bad. Let's see. Scavenging Ooze is a rather good one. Happy that I Omen the Deaded now, though. Obviously, if I had not used it, I'd have lost my creature. Well, there goes Noodle. I do have another one, but we're not currently in a position to be able to go around quite as much as I would like. So I imagine this next turn probably just involves Apparition on the Ooze, expert my opponent's hand, and then try and set up for another big Yorion after that. That might be something that happens. Okay, I'm probably going to take this trade if my opponent offers it, because it means the rest of these tokens get to attack freely next turn. Okay, so I think this is pretty easy for me. Apparition can punch through those. I'll then exile a card from my opponent's hand and attack for 5. Okay. See what my opponent chooses to discard here. The other Great Henge, that makes sense. Okay, well, we have the board, so if the hand is out of creatures and they draw lands or spells, we should be okay. It's if they start chaining creatures together off the Great Henge that we need to worry. Okay. That didn't happen. I think this is just an attack with all. Opponent very possibly kills the Apparition and eats another creature, but I think that's just a play we have to accept. We need to get our opponent dead before they draw out of this. Heart attack to the Apparition. Makes sense. Just eats the Expert again. Takes 5 damage. And in which case I'm just going to Yorion and flicker everything yet again. I'll pick up this Apparition and make 4 more guys. Just keep going wide. Keep going wide. Murderous Rider takes down the Noodle again. Does cast it. We can clean this up with the Apparition that they know about. And just keep on punching, just so they don't gain any more life. Need them to not gain life. So this is probably just Apparition into Expert to. That's a very good draw to clear the last card out of my opponent's hand. Agademes, that would have been pretty reasonable if my opponent's draw had been slightly different. Getting in for 8 damage here. Force our opponent to need to top deck their way out of this. No luck. Cool, taking game 1 in this first match, which is nice. I'm pretty sure opponent is Green-Black Adventures. Just with a bit of an awkward draw this game. They might be a bit top-heavy. I saw a Vivian, tons of removal, multiple henges. Not an awful lot else. I can believe that Adventures main deck's Vivian, and they definitely main deck a couple of henges, so I have no reason to believe this deck isn't too different from the normal variations of Adventures. And in that case, I don't tend to sideboard too much. I like Extinction Event in this matchup. And I think, in general, the discard spells are kind of dicey. How much... Under the Forge seems reasonably important for being able to kill the small idiots that I expect to see. But I do have a myriad of removal. Is Maya Triton actually that good? It blocks Lovestruck Beast, but that's about it. I think I'm going to cut these. I think I want the tomes. And I'm going to remove one of each omen, I think, to make room for those, and call that good. Not entirely sure that's correct. But, we're about to find out. Steep learning curve with this one, you know? Unfortunately, that hand is just not keepable. Not even remotely close to keepable. So let's tuck it away. On 6, this probably is a keep, but it's not great. The Omen of the Dead probably is the thing that goes back here. We need to use the Temple to find not only a 3rd land, but preferably a black one. The 6 is not very good, but it is better than most 5s, so I think it's a keep. ECD goes to the bottom here pretty handily. Opponent with a slow one that does have an Innkeeper. We do find a tome off the top, which is lovely. I will almost certainly scry for a land here, and then if I brick, I'll draw a card and try and find it the hard way. Another Innkeeper. Hopefully he doesn't have an adventure to pair with these. It isn't looking like it. I need to find the land here. Nice. That isn't perfect because I can't Apparition, but it is something. I was intending on scrying in the upkeep, but didn't. That's actually fine if I can find a white source. Opponent attacking with the Innkeepers means I will take this trade in a heartbeat. And then my opponent can do with Rankle what he wishes. I'm going to scry for a land. I need a white land. I really need a white land. I need to be able to Apparition this Rankle, so I think I have to bottom Swamp. Playing this as a Swamp is choosy. It just turns out to have punished me, but I wanted to make sure I had black mana. Obviously, having found 2 Swamps since then, a little unfortunate, but that's the way that it goes sometimes. Opponent makes me draw, which is interesting. This is a tap land. Guess I'm taking another Rankle hit. Duresses me. Well, that's Tome or ECD, which is fine. They probably take the ECD, I would think. Scavenging is... Yep. See what my opponent chooses to do with this Rankle. Wants everyone to discard a card. So I'll draw before I do that to get a better idea of what I want to pitch. Definitely pitching a tome then, in which case I have many tomes. Don't need... Discards a Vivian. So no land, I'm guessing. on the opponent's side. Land is good for us. It means I can clean up this Rankle and also draw a card. Is 2 Innkeepers in the bin of my opponent right now. They can eat if they want to. Would like this apparition to stay alive, but unlikely. Yeah. Let's draw a card. Gain ourselves 4 life in the process. Opponent should probably just eat the apparition and hit me, I think. They choose not to eat before damage, which is unusual. Okay. I think I'm in the market for trying to catch my opponent out here with their ooze. I'll either draw a card with the tome, or I'll rock this ooze into the floor when my opponent tries to eat a creature with the green. So they just don't. They just leave it as a 2/2. Mental. It's kind of crazy to me. Just doesn't do anything. Fairly confused by what's happening here, honestly. Gonna play out this Archon again, hold up the Omen. But this time around I can't actually kill this ooze because my opponent has 2 green. They do eat my apparition. Let's land 5 for them. Great Henge is pretty good. It's going to catch them right back up, that's for sure. I see. So I'm going to Omen. Shoot this and make a 2/2 off the Archon. And then block with the 2/2. As the ooze can still grow out of range with the mana from the Great Henge. So I've got to make sure not to get completely baited by that. Opponent does eat an Innkeeper before damage. I assume they're eating their other Innkeeper as well. Yeah. So gain 2, take 5, go to 7 total. And just think I untap here. I can ECD the Henge, which I think is the better turn. Put myself to 10. So go. Wilts the ECD. I'm fine with that. It's done its work. It got rid of the Great Henge. I will chump block if my opponent attacks. Just gain some life. Keep myself in a reasonable position. If the game goes long, I think I'm the one that's favoured. So. Lovestruck Beast, sure. So I'm going to scry here because I think I'm going to be casting Yorion next turn and resetting this tome anyway, so I might as well get maximum value from it. And I will scry again, I imagine, if nothing changes. So So I'm going to hold full control here just so I can do it in response in case anything gets removed and I change my mind, or like the trigger gets countered. Something steel like that. Opponent concedes to the Orion. Okay, cool. Match 1 in the book for Mardu. 1 out of 4 complete. So 1,000 gems back. Significantly better than the old best of 1 versions. Let's try and take match number 2. Mastra Magno. Unfortunately, I don't think that's a keep. The Omen's uncastable due to lack of red. Missing second white. Only an expert we can cast. Pretty sure we'll just have to mull this one. On the draw as well, which really kind of sucks. This is a keep, but the Omen of the Dead isn't doing anything right now. It's a bit of a slow hand. Mono red, maybe? Hand should be pretty good against mono red. I think I'm actually going to scry here because I want to work towards spells. It's kind of important. That is a good hit. We'll keep that where it is. If it's not mono red or Gruul, that would kind of suck. Looks like it's just... It could be the red ramp deck again. I do keep seeing the red ramp deck everywhere at the second, so that's entirely possible. They would be a mono red deck with this much slower start. Okay. White source here, just going to hold up Omen of the Sun and Heartless Act, respectively. Yeah, opponent having done nothing so far is pretty indicative of the fact this is the ramp deck, right? The hand's just like full of removal. Which we're actually pretty good against because we make multiple threats with everything that we're doing at the second. I'm more worried about them making their way towards like an Ugin or like a bigger payoff because I am not in a position to handle that right now. My hand doesn't have a good way of handling those kind of cards. Thankfully milling a creature here, which is a pretty big game. The difference between zombie and no zombie here is quite large. Opponent cycles a shredded sails. Sure. Is no artifact in my main deck, so that doesn't make some sense. Ironcrag Feet into Ugin, I assume. Yeah, that's pretty unfortunate. Card is very good, and I'm not entirely sure we're beating that, sadly. I guess I need to work my way towards Elspeth Conquers Death, so my plan should be to find one of those. None of which are those. So, definitely looking kind of funky here, unfortunately, folks. Radiant Famine. Yeah, even the Spirit Dragon is a card that we are very soft to, and there aren't actually that many decks in the format that play it, but this deck has really picked up in popularity over the last day or two. It's definitely something we should concern ourselves with moving forward. Because I just kind of expect the card to see more play. There is the ECD. Hopefully that's enough. Nothing to bring back off it right now. But that's mainly because we cast this. I was intending on obviously on scrying here at the end of the turn because so with the Charming Prince, sorry, because I didn't think we were going to draw an Elspeth Conquers Death. Having done that, well, turns out you probably have to handle the Ugin as opposed to scrying towards Elspeth Conquers Death when you just drew one. Solemn Tome. I actually kind of like this deck. I should try it out at some point. It's very cool. Croxer is a fantastic draw here. This is actually a way for us to get a creature into our graveyard that we just didn't have otherwise. It just wasn't possible. So, no, it might not be coming back just yet in full form, but it's a really good draw to make sure the last chapter of ECD actually does something. I do have a difficult choice here, though, of scrying with Prince versus putting Yorion in my hand, and I think I prefer the Prince. It's kind of close, though. Apparition seems rather good. I'll keep that where it is. Kind of hoping that my opponent's running on empty here. Sadly, they do have 4 mana to activate. No, they don't now, right? They don't have 4 mana anymore? Yeah, so if I pass the blockers and strip 3 counters off of this, I should kill it. Because it's 4 to pump and they got 3 mana left now that they've attacked with it. So that should work, hopefully. Nice. That is extremely valuable. So back comes the Croxer with a counter on it very briefly. Opponent chooses to draw a card before deciding what to discard. It's very tempting to get rid of the Tome here, honestly. But I think I have to just get this Solemn off the table. And they discarded an Ugin? What? They have to have another one. So if they have another one... what do I do? That's so bad for me. What 2 cards are you keeping? So, if I take the Tome, they Ugin me, and they get a 2/2. If I take the Solemn, they get a 4/4. I think I have to take the Tome. Just in case they don't have another Ugin, I guess. And it's tempting to put this in my hand again, but I think I'm actually going to wait. And I'm going to crack this Omen with the intention of bringing back Croxer. They just have to have another Ugin. That doesn't make any sense otherwise. If they attack with the Solemn first, I'm probably just taking the 2. It's very tempting to take this block, but not only does my opponent draw a card that way, but they also get a 2/2, which they can then just Ugin plus and kill the Charming Prince the hard way. They just Bone Crusher. Okay. Wish I'd put the Yorion in my hand if I knew they were going to do that, obviously, but I assumed my guys were getting exiled. Casts a Bone Crusher. Okay. Play a land, go on. I'm 6 cards. Am I going to scry? Because if I scry, my draw step does get better, sure, but honestly, I'd like to draw an untapped land so that I can both cast this and pull this back. But if I crack this, the Yorion does get worse, because but I think I'm exiling everything anyway, so I'm just going to scry. And I'll probably keep an untapped land. I don't find one. Sadly, I don't have enough black sources to do either of these alongside Croxer next turn. I don't think either of them's particularly powerful either, so I think I'm going to bottom both. And if I draw an untapped land, that's fine. If I draw another spell, that's also fine. Okay, so I'll leave the Apparition there in case I draw another Omen. Knock my opponent down to 1 card. Discard Scorching Dragonfire, put Yorion in my hand, and just hope to God this last card isn't Ugin the Spirit Dragon, I guess. Like, I guess they are on 7 lands. If they were playing around not drawing the land, discarding Ugin makes sense. But I just can't believe they don't have another one tucked up somewhere in there. This attack seems bad. I think if I was my opponent, I'd prefer to leave this back to block Croxer. But I could be wrong. I guess they're just going to block Croxer here. I think that's fine, honestly. Discards Valakut's Awakening. Didn't play this as a land. Mainly because they have to protect their Ugin, right? Do I reflicker Yorion here? I think I do. Keeps it safe from Ugin, right? So if they hit the land and hit the Ugin, they can't minus on Yorion. They can kill the Charming Prince, but it means Yorion gets to hit the Ugin first. Wish I'd kind of kept one of the black cards now, though. Because I'd be wanting to refuel this Croxer. So maybe bottoming the Tiramet Calls the Dead was wrong. So just kind of, yeah, there's the other Ugin. I expected that. So I can put this to 5. Castle Lock Thwain is an interesting card. It's not the best draw in our deck, but it's something at least. That is not great. Okay, we're in a top deck war. Really? That's roughly where we are. Top deck war it is. Oh man. That is a good one. Now I can't challenge this Ugin anymore, and I need to find an ECD again. That is not an ECD. I can kick this though, right? That does kill the Ugin. 5 cards in the bin, so I'm 1 away from Croxer again. I am on 6 life though. Oh man. I have to draw, right? And just take 2. I can't sit here and wait. Ugh. Hopefully Croxer's enough to stabilize here. Spikefield Hazard my face. Oh, this is a close one. Would love to find a Charming Prince or some way to gain life here. To kind of just perk me up a little and stay safe. I can't beat Ugin. Never going to beat Ugin. Not going to try. Crawling Barrens is a dangerous one. That's a very dangerous one. I have to block here, obviously, if the opponent attacks. Can't go to 1. Leaves me dead to more cards. So yes, they get to draw another card here, but I have to get rid of this Solemn eventually anyway. So be it. That's a really good one. A really, really good one. Discards a mountain. Puts him to 5. Omen. Noodle. Flicker the Omen. Think we might have stabilized and got there, folks. Might have got there. Gonna make this Crawling Barrens really big. I just have to hope that you have like no way in your deck to give it trample, I guess. Because I am not beating that. Take game 1. Alright, that was dicey, given there was like a turn 5 Ugin there somewhere. So what do I know about this deck? Solemn. There's not a lot of good creatures to kill that you don't want to exile. So Heartless Axe seems pretty bad. Like, actually, in fact, actively terrible. So this needs to be out of my deck. Maya Triton isn't the worst because it does pressure Planeswalkers still. It can block a Bone Crusher. It can block a Crawling Barrens. So it doesn't seem the worst. But I do think this matchup is kind of about... discarding their hand and pressuring them that way, because they seem quite combo-centric. Like, some of their cards are good by themselves, but to really maximize their stuff, they need a lot of it. So I think I would rather... Duress is obviously great. I think I would rather go that route than Maya Triton. I think this is worse. I think Omen of the Forge is also very bad. So if I get tomes into my deck and like the Chief's Thirsts, maybe not all of them. Leave some of these in. What does Omen kill that Maya Triton doesn't? Nothing, right? Yeah, literally nothing. So I would rather have Maya Tritons, I think. See how that feels. I don't think Sweepers are very good here. I think they don't play to the board outside of Ugin, mainly because they're an Ugin deck and they want to be able to sweep. So we'll see. This deck's really sweet. I do enjoy playing it. Not sure if it's quite there, but it's very, very cool. Hopefully we can score a qualification with this one. It'd be nice. This is fine, I think. Based on what we know about our opponent's deck, we don't mind being slightly slower, and we have a curve, we have a plan. ECD seems like it could be quite good in this matchup too, so pretty happy to keep a hand with one in it, because it's like the easiest way for us to beat a turn 5 Ugin, right? Robber of the Rich. So maybe opponent is way more aggressive off the board, maybe? Might punish us for removing as much removal as we did. Steals Amaze My Tome of Ours, which is not ideal. They do miss their land, though. We do draw another tome. I'm just going to hold up Omen of the Sun here, because, unsurprisingly, I would just like to kill this robber off, if given the choice. Opponent tops, they do find their land, which is perfectly reasonable. Gains some life. Relic Robber. Okay, well, we're going to be killing that one instead, then, obviously. Opponent has definitely moved to a very aggressive game plan post-board, and that is cool. I think that's possibly interesting. They steal a land from us. I would like this to not hit me, please. Makes me wonder if they board out the Ugins and stuff. Maybe they do. Maybe they don't. Who's to say? I think Archon is fine here. It's be interesting to see whether they've got Embercleaves in their deck now. Does bottom. Clearly still looking for lands. Or some other way to capitalize on this creature package. It's a cool idea. I haven't seen the red ramp decks doing this yet and sideboarding into like aggro. Opponent obviously wants this Skyclave Apparition, so they were going to attack anyway. I'm going to block, assuming that the Apparition is what I'm meeting my fate with at the end of this. If they Bone Crush instead, I think I'm just like fine with that. That seems fine. If they've missed their land, this is just like, okay. It's just like a 1.5 for 1. Yeah, I don't understand why you wouldn't just Apparition there instead. Apparition seems much better to me. So, not a fan of that. Just gonna cast the tome here, hold up Omen, and or draw cards off the tome. No reason I can't take it slow. Does bottom. Yeah, I think opponent misplayed there. I think just letting the robber die and just casting the apparition from that he stole from me is a much better way to handle that. They attack with Relic Robber again. I'm just going to Omen again. And try and eat this again. I do get blown out by Spikefield Hazard, but I think that's just not worth playing around here. It's just very high upside if my opponent doesn't have it. Which you'd think they would have played it as a land if they had it, so I think it's fairly safe to just assume they don't. 2 black, 2 red already. Also 3. I think this is fine being red. Just gonna expert. I think it's just expert Crocs a draw card here. Eats a Chandra Heart of Fire. So opponent's hand is clearly gassed up. So let's shred it apart. Discards another Chandra. Unfortunate. I like this card a lot. Wish it saw more play than it does. If opponent did side out the Ugins, I actually think they're correct. I think there's a good chance that as much as they fuck me over, and they really do hurt if they land, my sideboard plan is pretty obviously going to be to do with ripping their hand to shreds, and they're just never going to cast them. So I think siding them out actually makes a lot of sense. If there's a 7-drop here, we are in trouble. Depends on what it does, obviously, but yes, you have an Iron Crag Feet. Into a 3rd Chandra. Okay. So opponent's just going to refill their hand here. Just chock up on cards. I probably just have to ECD this. They don't fill up on cards. Can you not play lands? Yeah, why would you not just plus and try and find lands with this? Confused by that. Definitely eating this Chandra though before it runs away with drawing my opponent 6 gajillion cards. Would rather not. No, the Maze Mind Tome's not bad for them, though. We're on 3 cards in the grave currently. Tirametz is going to help us bridge the gap. I'm actually going to scry for an untapped land here because it lets me do both of these. Alternatively, I could double Tirametz, which I think is also fine. So, we'll keep that. ECD goes off, and we'll cast both of these. Mill over stuff. Tirametz. Make another zombie. Looking good, feeling good, chat. Casting a Bone Crusher is fine by me. Triggers. I should have stacked them the other way, but I was probably getting the Pegasus anyway. Mill another Croxer for my time. Should have at least given myself the option, right? Because I could hit Yorion. That's unfortunate. Yeah, I should have stacked these the other way. That's on me. Was silly. So a lot of wasted value because of that. I think it's not going to matter, but just as a general rule, it's worth acknowledging that I did spuff that up. The amount of value we'd have gotten from that would have been absurd. So just going to Crocs here. Try and keep my opponent's hand small and irrelevant. Choose to scry, sure. That's just fine. Discards Ox of Agonas. That's pretty good. That is going to be good. Yeah, just going to draw a card with the time at the end of the turn here. Terror of the Peaks. That's pretty good. Would like to find a way to handle that before the Ox comes back and starts blowing my board up. It's not a bad one for our opponent to have found. Unfortunately, Apparition cannot handle Terror of the Peaks. That can, though. That definitely can. Going to bottom these two and keep these two on top. and I'll gain a chunk more life. And I'm pretty happy to keep all of these on top, honestly. Looking to be in very good shape here. Make a dude, eat this terror. Just kind of running away with this. Pretty sure I'm happy just throwing a 2/2 to the wind for 6 damage. Opponent bombs. I guess they're looking for like Storm's Wrath, or I'm not even sure what they're looking for, honestly. I'm not 100% sure how they get themselves out of this one. Gonna draw this now, gain 4 life, make my land drop. 37 life, feeling very safe. Opponent is nowhere near an Ugin the Spirit Dragon. No sweeper clears my board in mono red, so feeling pretty good about this one. Opponent does draw off their tome and go back to 15. No luck, it would seem. Opponent agrees. Match is over. Okay, 2-0. 2-0 with Mardu Yorion. 2 to go. If we can do that again, we're qualified for tomorrow and we get to play for $1. So let's just do that again, yeah? Makes it nice and easy. Round number 3. See if we can keep this going. Excuse me. Patiently waiting for round number 3. Spokes, our 3rd round opponent. No inclination of what they are on because they do not have a companion. This hand is fine. It's going to be questionable as to whether this is a white source or a red source, depending on our first couple of draw steps. But I have to get white off this passage and then hopefully draw another white or red land before I have to play this to better inform my decision when it comes to my mana. Opponent does take a mulligan to 5, which I'm certainly not going to complain about. Okay, we are on the play, so passage, go. Forest Pass. So mono green, Gruul are my first initial instincts. Acquisitions Expert is actually a very good draw. They're already on a mulligan to 5, like just ripping another card out of their hand is just pretty grim. Stonecoil Serpent, chose not to cast that. So probably mono green. Gruul doesn't tend to play Stonecoil. No? Okay, Gruul. Gruul with Stonecoil Serpents. Robber of the Rich, yes. Well, that's going to trigger, whether I like it or not. Opponent steals an Omen of the Sun. I'm not going to block. Nice. Drawing this is a really big deal, actually, because it means that I can choose to prioritize Apparition as opposed to having to use Heartless Act to, like, save my mana choice. And, like, have access to red. Brushfire, attack for 1, no land. Obviously not very impressive. Not particularly worried about that. I'm going to play this as a red source so that I have access to red mana. Do I care about Brushfire elements? I guess I can afford to wait, right? There's no rush for me to decide whether I care. I can just pass the turn, hold up Omen, hold up Heartless Act. Even hold up Omen of the Dead. Should my opponent like Bone Crush this or Bone Crush this? Another Brushfire. Did they draw a land? They did. So I am just going to kill one of these. Seems much safer than anything else. Taking my 3 damage. And move on with my life. They might have a Primal Might. That's pretty good. Primal Might is very good, actually. Okay. Omen of the Forge isn't bad, but we are definitely in a bit of a sticky wick here the second. I guess I'm supposed to Red Omen, shoot the 2/2, attack for a point, and then Omen of the Dead back Skyclave Apparition. Missing my 5th land has been a little bit painful here, actually. It stopped me from double spelling at any point, so I'm kind of getting clunked up a smidge. Got to take 3 more damage here, which is not ideal. Got to wonder what my opponent's last card is. Edgewall Keeper, sure. That probably needs to die. There's a world where I'm supposed to Apparition that instead. I think that world is real. I'm on 11. I can play with my life total just a little bit. I'm very glad that I did that. Very, very glad that I did that. Untapped land would be gorgeous here. Not quite. Not quite. Crocs doesn't help me very much. I think I just have to Omen, sadly. There's actually not a lot of good draws for me here. Opponent's top of the deck is just very light. That's a lot of damage. This is scary. Taking 5 here. Don't know why my opponent attacked with the 1/1. That was a bit silly. Taking 5 from this elemental. There's the untapped land. 2 in the bin. I'm really scared of this Brushfire. It's starting to get a little problematic. I think I'm actually going to put the Noodle in my hand and choose the Croxer here. And I don't think this Expert is ever blocking, so... Like, Primal Might does kill me. So does Embercleave. Like, I'm dead to a number of things. Okay. Just Noodle, I think. Pretty sure this is just Noodle all the time. Wow, no response from the opponent. Think that should be good enough to end this. I think. So, triggers. Pick up the Croxer. Omen of the Forge kills the Brushfire Elemental. I strip the last card out of my opponent's hand. Skyclave Apparition eats a Lovestruck Beast. And I will... Wow. Why did you not cast this? I'm very confused. I'd be in a much worse shape if there was a 5/5 Stone Coil in play. Kazandu Mammoth. Yeah. That's a very good draw. I think the ECD might be a little better though. Getting this ticking just seems very profitable. Opponent agrees. That is enough for us to take game one. Okay, I have a sideboard plan written up for Grill Adventures. This one I can do. So, Experts go. Croxers go. And then Event, Shatter, Realm Cloak come in. And then double Blood Chief's Heartless Act comes in. Come on. Let's be having this. Let us be having this. Opponents taking their time to decide what they think they should be doing, which makes a lot of sense given that they've probably never played this matchup before. Not an awful lot of people out there rocking Mardu Yorion right now, but I think Sam Black's onto something. I think this deck is very good. It deserves more respect. Really taking their time here, huh? Nearly 2 minutes. Reasonable. They're obviously not entirely sure what I'm up to. But does make the talking part of the video significantly harder. There we go. Alright. This is a little janky. This Omen of the Dead is a bit blank right now. But I think it's a keep on 7 anyway. It does handle early threats and a big board, and it has its mana. So that's not bad. That's reasonable. I'm going to scry here, I think, because I actually want to inform my draw step. I do not want another land at this point in time. There's a number of things I'm looking for there, but land is not one of them. Brushfire, Robber of the Rich. Okay, so we can handle that. Opponent will steal a card from us. They steal an Omen of the Sun. That would have been nice to have, but alas, you can't have it all. So let's pop this down. Kill off the Robber. Move on. Obviously no early creature for us in the graveyard, so if we choose to Tiramets on 3, we will be doing it naked, and that's always a little scary, because it's very easy to brick and have the card do not a whole lot. Garrick's Harbinger. That one probably has to get Shatter the Skied, doesn't it? If that's the case, would I rather block it with Charming Prince first? Or just Tiramets? I think I would rather block it with Charming Prince first. Because I can Omen it back too, which seems good to me. So let's do that. Let's Charming Prince. Try and set up some draws. Archon. Archon's probably really good right now, actually. I'll keep that. And work our way towards Shatter the Sky here, I imagine. Bone Crushes the Charming Prince. Yep. This is difficult actually because the Harbinger obviously is drawing cards, but Shattering just it all by itself also draws a card. Which is really something I'd rather not do. If my opponent plays out a second creature, I might pull the trigger. Feels wrong. Feels wrong to be doing that. I think I'm going to try and lure them into the fact I don't have Shatter the Sky. And I'm going to run out this Archon. If the Archon survives, I'm in really good shape. It threatens to block the Harbinger. It threatens to block this Phoenix of Ash. If they do just punch through it, I'm going to look very silly. But I think it's good otherwise. I'll take this block. I can rebuy this with Omen. If I draw an untapped land, that's probably what I'm doing. It's not an untapped land. Showering here again does allow the Phoenix to come back. Well, just come down and clean out with no real good way of handling it. My opponent does draw a card off the Shatter too. I could work my way towards a Croxer with Tiramets. I could... I think I like Shattering the Sky, assuming my opponent is going to slam this Phoenix, and then I can Omen back Archon, play Archon. Might be an aggressive Shatter, but I think it's fine. I think this is also fine, honestly. I think I just take my 1-for-1 per se because they replace the card and move on. It's obviously not the best Shatter the Sky you've ever seen, but I think it's okay. They do have far more cards than I would like them to have, that's for sure. Need 5 mana for something? Vivian. That one I'm a bit soft to right now. Probably makes these with Reach as well to play around another Archon, I would imagine. Does do that. Alright, I need to go find a Croxer. So let's get our mill on. No, the Croxers go out in this matchup, so I can't actually find a Croxer. Unfortunately. So, just get our mill on and fill the graveyard up, I suppose. I'll exile the Charming Prince. It's the one I'm least likely to grab with an Omen. I'm not liking where we are here. Opponent seems to have far too much gas, and we do not, which is bad. Actively bad. Would love an ECD. ECD would be very good right now. Opponent was also in the tank about what they were supposed to do there. Double Phoenix. Alright, well, I'd love Extinction Event, I suppose. Extinction Event would be the stones in this spot. Am I supposed to take this block? I think so. I think I honestly am. Yeah, give me an Extinction Event, will you? That is not an Extinction Event. I can Skyclave one of them. Or I can pick up Archon. Skyclaving one of them does not feel like it achieves a lot. The Archon legitimately might, so I think that's what I'm doing. Sadly, 1 mana short of putting this noodle in our hand, but is what it is. Five cards in the bin. So more than enough to bring these back, should I choose to block them and aggressively trade with them, which is kind of the problem, right? If I don't block them, they just get pumped twice and do, like, a gajillion damage. 6. One of them would do 6. From getting pumped twice. This is rough. In fairness, if I block twice, draw a land, I can add this Yorion back the apparition, block again, and then Skyclave the other one. Okay, I think I have to play to that. Untap land lets me theoretically keep these off the table but I'm still losing to the Vivian. I don't know how I'm dealing with that problem yet. But one problem at a time. That's unfortunately a tapped land, which is the worst of both worlds. Can't keep Castle Lochthwain, can I? I think I'm just running out of life to keep Castle Lochthwain. Yeah, this is probably too late. But I'm hoping my opponent escapes the other Phoenix. And then I can eat one, Yorion flicker it, eat the other. Gotta leave back the Zombos for now. Didn't crack Evolving Wilds either, which is interesting. Possible there's a Brushfire or a Mammoth in the hand? Certainly not impossible. This Vivian should have done way more work than it has. It's still obviously a massive, massive problem. But I'm just a little surprised that it hasn't cast like a wall of creatures off the top of the deck or anything yet. Does escape the Phoenix. Does make another 3/3. Yep. I think this is just a case. I soak up more damage by double blocking, right? If I get stomped, then fuck me, but I think this actually saves me more life in the long run. Less now, more later, because I can block again next turn and save the damage while also stopping it from attacking again next turn. Okay, well, the player here is pretty easy for me. I know what I have to do, I just have to hope it's good enough. Shouldn't have a stomp because I played into it last turn. Noodle. If opponent held the stomp, they are very good, but I don't think they're that good. It's hard to play around Skyclave off the top, even though it's obvious that I know it's there. So pick up Charming Prince, I suppose, right? If my opponent doesn't have any removal, I can start looping. Still dead to a million and one things. The Vivian's still there. This is not a good position to be in, but that was our best option by a lot, I think. Gotta wonder what's going on in my opponent's hand. So Vivian finally minuses, which is terrifying. Has yet another Phoenix. Grabs a Brushfire Elemental. That makes sense. That's a good play. That is a good play. Wow, that's a lot of haste damage. Don't think I'm alive. Robber steals an ECD. Of course it does. So I can't block this with anyone but Yorion. Phoenix is probably not coming back. Isn't getting pumped. So this is happening. So I take 3, 6, 9, 10, 11. I block 3 and I still die, right? So I can't trade. I have to block like this and take 3, 6, 7, 8, 9. Wait, is that still dead? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. No, I'm alive this way, right? Can't trade for Robber. And I lose my Yorion because of Brushfire Elemental. So I should have blocked that with... I should have kept my Yorion alive. I don't think it matters, but I obviously could have blocked with something that didn't die to... Oh, what the fuck? Did it matter? Oh my god, it mattered. It didn't matter. There's 2 odd creatures. It's fine. It's fine. Let's not show them Extinction Event. We don't need to do that. That would have been a good one a couple turns ago. Fuck. Alright. Let's not lose game 3 then, shall? Let's not lose game 3. Not lose game 3. Yeah, it's pretty not ideal. Alright. We got this. Hand is definitely a keep. No doubt about that. Interesting that I haven't seen a questing beast out of my opponent yet. It's a popular one at the second, so kind of surprised to have not seen it in any capacity. Opponent does take a 6. Temple. I feel like keeping another Blood Chief's Thirst might be rather greedy. I'm going to bottom this. Evolving Wilds for the opponent. So I need the black source here. Not great mills. I think on average I'd rather have had both of those in my deck. See what our opponent has for us here on turn 2. Robber of the Rich. I am fine with that. No attack makes an awful lot of sense. So I can put the Yorion in my hand, but if I do that, I play into my opponent killing the Maya Triton and attacking me with Robber. I can kill the Robber, attack for 2, and scry. I think I'm just into putting the noodle in my hand, to be honest. I think this is better. Opponent's got a lot of ways to push through this Triton, but I would rather force them to do that. If they're spending their turn burning like a Primal Might or a Stomp or something on the Maya Triton, it means I know that I have to waste a removal spell on Robber of the Rich. Otherwise, I get to score one of these for free. I do lose a land to one of these robbers. I think my opponent's about to miss their land drop. They are not. They do have an Evolving Wilds. Okay. So let's keep working towards a late game plan. I need some action. Some things to flicker with Yorion would be nice. I don't think I'm bombing that, though. I think that's probably pretty good. Just going to pop this. I'm fine using the Bloodchief's Thirst here, I think, instead of Heartless Act, even though I know I have 2 Heartless Acts, because I have an ECD for the Vivian that is a problem otherwise. The only punish for not using Heartless Act is something like Stonecoil Serpent. But currently my opponent can't cast one big enough for that to be a real punish. So I think I'm fine using the cheaper spell here. It's entirely possible I should have used Heartless Act to be more mana efficient, but I think it just kills more things. I think if my opponent like casts, I don't know, Kazandu Mammoth here, for example, I'm going to really wish that I'd used the Bloodchief's Thirst as opposed to using the Heartless Act, so I think it's correct to use the cheaper spell there. Just the less flexible one. Well, it is the more flexible one, but costs more mana to make it more flexible. So. Close, though. Genuinely a discussion point. There is a third Robber of the Ridge. That card is much better when you mulligan, isn't it? Steals a Heartless Act from us, gets in for 2. Any land for the opponent. Is indeed a Fabled Passage. So plenty of the fetch lands this game has made the draw a little awkward. Shatter the Sky is not awful, but obviously not what we're looking for just yet. Really looking for something that plays well with this Yorion. I don't think I need to keep an Extinction Event. Maybe that's greedy and I'm just supposed to do it, but I think I need to find some actual action here, because unfortunately I milled an Archon over. So like, that might be fine actually if I like draw an Omen or something. Phoenix is fine. This probably earns the ECD, but that does make something like a Vivian more scary in theory. But I would think if they had a Vivian, they'd have cast it that turn, because it's better against my hand on average than Phoenix of Ash is going to be. So they would have to draw one. Omen of the Sun is a good draw. So just going to ECD. This plays very well with the Archon that's in my bin as well. So I think this is just very likely the correct thing to be doing. And if my opponent plays a Vivian, I can just Yorion this, and they know about the Yorion, so they're not going to. But if they give us an ECD target, I'm probably just flickering the ECD. Brushfire is not an ECD target. Yes, 3/3. We go to 13. Okay, non-creature spells cost more. I think I'm just gonna Maya Shrine and hold up the Omen of the Sun here. Try and set myself up for a good Yorion. Mill over the Realm Cloak Giant, which is interesting. We can actually just pull this back as a 7, an 8/8 even if we want to, which is a big boy that will block and attack well, and will be kind of hard for our opponent to get through, I would think. I might still just grab the Archon, but I want to see how this turn plays out first, I think, before I make any decisions there. Opponent can attack for 1, and I can do nothing about it because this can't block this creature, neither can these, so we'll take our beats. Okay, Omen. 3 cards in hand, nothing going on is kind of scary. So I think I'm just getting the 8/8, honestly. Maybe that's greedy. But it is one big boy. And then I'm just going to Yorion. The flicker these two. I think it's very hard for my opponent to get through an 8/8. So. But no, if the Yorion loops go off, I'm obviously going to wish I had the Pegasus. There's the Vivian. They were carefully holding that one, it would seem. Land doesn't matter, that's fine. They make a 3/3, also largely irrelevant, I think. This has reach though, right? Yeah. This is still a good turn. So I need to kill this Vivian. So if I send this over here, it blocks. This blocks. So if I send everything but the giant, it dies, right? Yeah, so let's do that. Let's go this, over here, and the giant up here. This is fucking vigilant, man. Ugh. Gross. Okay. Opponent just eats a 1/1, which is fine by me. Takes 8. And then I can start a loop, right? I can just go Omen of the Sun. Make some more dudes. Charming Prince. Exile the Noodle. And the turn, Noodle comes. Opponent's done. Alright, we're 3-0. Big game. Next one, folks. Big match. Big match. Playing for day 2. Can we get there with Mardu Yorion? Come on. I would like this real bad. Who's the end boss? Many CZ. Our end boss for day 2. Yep, this is to keep in my eyes. We are on the draw, unfortunately. But, Maya Shrine Croxer, good mana. Omen to abuse the fact we're putting cards in the graveyard. Opponent takes a mulligan, I'm going to keep. Red-black sack, maybe? Could be a pseudo-mirror. Where we're the bigger version. Which would be, I think, a good matchup in Fury. I've not played the matchup very much, so I actually don't know. Opponent will know what's up now. They've seen Survive Triome. Croxer. I think I'm happy to discard my own Croxer here. and then cast a Maya Train. Drawing a Yorion actually isn't bad at all. Isn't bad at all. Tiamat calls it dead. Okay, so opponent does not brick. They actually mill over a Bone Crusher, which is like the best thing alongside this Ox. Archon. Well, I probably want to cast that one on turn 4. But it does mean that I'm not casting Omen of the Sun this turn. I think that's fine. Perfect. I would like to have played this matchup a little more. Opponent has the main deck Robber of the Riches, which is good to know. I just don't have that much familiarity with it, which kind of sucks. Okay. Let us see. Opponent. I think I'm just taking this trade. There's a really good chance this Archon gets murdered, unfortunately. But if it does get murdered, it's just me being closer to Croxer, I suppose. Problem is, I think that they are the better Croxer deck than me. Yeah. Mills over another Ox. Multiple Tiramets on the go here. Any land drop? Land drop, yes. They can bring back a Croxer next turn. Unfortunately, there's a good chance this dies. If it doesn't die, we might be okay. But opponent's list looks sweet. Palaka Predation's a spicy one. Multiple Lilianas. Rankle, multiple Oxes. Two top, one bottom is not a good sign. Yep, taking a turn to Hagra Mauling makes a lot of sense. Means I'm not going to be doing a lot of the cool stuff I wanted to be doing. Next turn. Acquisitions Expert. I get the last card out of their hand, whatever it is, which means they are relying on Croxer Ox to get the job done. But we're kind of a little stuck here. I need to. What are my good answers to Croxer? Skyclave Apparition. So I'd like to find a Skyclave. It's like my best one. Okay, fair enough. Do I have one in the graveyard right now? No. Still tops the card from the last time. Bottoms the others. If this is a land, it wouldn't surprise me to see Ox instead of Croxer. Would make some sense. Just to kind of fill up. Again. If one attacks here, I'm probably flashing this in and taking a trade. Well, trading a 1-1 for a 2-2. Or trading the expert for a 2-2. Either way. Opponent is going to go with the Ox instead, which makes a lot of sense. But it does mean I'll get to aim a Croxer at their hand. So whatever they draw, they better hope they can cast it. Blood Chiefs. Okay, so they had a castable in their hand first, unfortunately, so... Yeah, it goes for the Ox. Leaves 5 cards in the bin, so no Croxer currently, but obviously very close. Well, now definitely, so... I have to discard this Omen now, because I would rather have Yorion in my hand, obviously. Yeah, okay, they were very easily going to enable Croxer, so I'm now happy just Croxering this last card out of their hand, which I was on the fence about before. I think I'm going to hold this Temple in my hand, because I want something to discard to the Croxer that is not Yorion. It's just a swamp. Okay. This has been a really interesting game. Very much enjoyed figuring this one out. Opponent does bring back their Croxer, largely to be expected. Leaves 2 cards in the grave, the Ox and the other Croxer. I'll discard the Temple, as I suggested I would. Has a Robber of the Rich, okay. Might just turn this into a card, wouldn't surprise me. Might wait. We are only on 13. We did take 3 from this just now. Opponent's doing the math on whether it's worth cashing in one of their creatures to gain damage. They think it is. They find Omen of the Dead. I think I'm just going to eat this Ox to save the most damage. I'm probably just going to try and block this guy as well because the 1-1 is pretty irrelevant. Blood Chiefs is... Ooh, that's annoying. Would really like to have land number 6 now. Oh. I think this is too good to not do. I think I just have to pop this. Put this in my hand. And hold the 4. I think killing the opponent's Croxer is just too good to pass up on there. Have to hope their draw is just like a blank, and that the Robber doesn't find them anything relevant either. They can pick up an Ox, actually, from my Omen of the Dead. That might have been worth thinking about. I'm pretty sure I still block the Ox anyway, honestly. If I block the Robber, I just get punished by other robbers, by Rankle, stuff like that. Finds an Archon. Ugh. That makes for a pretty good turn for my opponent, theoretically. I'm going to eat the Robber, but... We drop to 5 here, and our opponent just has more gas than us, and there's actually just not that much in play for this Yorion to do. Opponent finds the Archon. Goes with the Archon, casts Omen to make a 2/2 life-linking flyer, picking up an Ox, I imagine, and then passing the turn. They found 2 very good ones off the top of my deck, which is fine. It's going to happen sometimes. They just didn't cast the Omen. They did cast the Omen. What? Okay, that's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Got myself all confused for a second there. Easily fixed. I got to keep the ground locked up. Slowly navigate our way out of this. Slowly. Does slam down that Ox. Spins the Bone Crusher Giant away. Draws 3 more cards. What am I looking for here? Like, what do I really want to draw? ECD. I guess Elspeth's is one of my best draws. I don't have a lot of good ones, honestly. Heartless Act is fine. Bloodchief's Thirst would be fine. That is, unfortunately, none of those. Let's try and do anything. 3 cards. Technically would turn Croxer back on should Croxer die. Okay. Okay. This is really teetering on the edge here. Opponent is ahead. They've gone through so much of their library, and we have 60 cards left in ours. That is disgusting. Very glad that I kept this Maya Trion on top. Like, very glad. But yes, that's a very good Shatter Skull Smashing. Cards, great. Six cards in the grave again. Oh, it's just not looking good. I don't know how I... 3, 4, 5. I don't know how I get out of this, honestly. Take 7. Go to 2. But trade or take 2 less. And I think this is better. We're in really bad shape. It's a chance I just have to Yorion here again and reset the omens. I lose this Triton to their Croxer, but that's fine because it does what I needed it to do and turns on the Croxer anyway. So back to 6, make 4 more guys. Opponent is not happy about that one, clearly. It's actually been a super interesting game to navigate. I've really enjoyed this. Definitely been on the back foot for most of it, but it's been good. Opponent's robber hits were very impactful. Some really, really high level. Like, the robber hits actually drew them like half a card here and like 3 cards off the Ox. So like, it was like stealing like 6 extra spells with robber, which is mental. Wow. Another Shatter Skull Smashing. Guess I'm going to 1 here. And the Trion doesn't keep me alive anymore. That does. That keeps me alive. If my opponent forgets Croxer, that is. If they remember they have a Croxer in their graveyard, then I die. I can't beat the Croxer. I have no cards in hand. If they can put 2 and 2 together, they kill me. It's just, have to play to my outs, right? They remembered. So we are dead as a doorknob. Okay, losing game 1 here really sucks. Back is now against the wall. Extinction Event is obviously the nuts. Maze Mind Tome seems pretty good. I actually think Croxer might be the wrong way for me to go in this matchup. I like Cling to Dust. I like Bloodchief's Thirst. I might even like Heartless Act. Can I see your exile pile, please? No? Yes. Okay. Bloodchief's Thirst seems great because it kills... Well, actually, Heartless Act doesn't get the Ox on the way back. Bloodchief's Thirst does kill Liliana. It can kill Rankle. It does just clean kill Croxer. I think I like it the most out of everything. How much stuff does Omen of the Forge kill in this deck? Doesn't kill the Croxer. I really wish clicking on their Exile Pile was easier than trying to guess where the spot is that I have to click to view it. I don't have time for this. I just have to figure this out. I think I'll take a split. If I take a split, maybe I can feel better in my decisions. I think Realm Cloak is a trap because they are playing Croxer. I want Omen of the Forge out. I think I just want my try and out of my deck as well. But then I have to leave some Croxers in. I guess it's Expert then, right? So Expert and Triton. I'll leave the Croxers in. I don't feel like that's correct. I think I've misboarded here, but I just don't have experience in the matchup. I have not played this one very much. I've played like a lot of Rogues, a lot of Gruul, which is why I decided to play this in the best of 3 portion of our attempts to make it today. But I've not played against Red-Black very much. Not massively sure what I'm supposed to do. This is a keep. It's not great by any stretch. Maybe I'm supposed to cut Omen of the Sun. This card's pretty impactless in a matchup like this. It's not massively beneficial. I can see that. Maybe I'll think about that if we make it to game 3. Go Scry looking for land 3. That is not land 3, so it goes away. And we'll Charming Prince to look for it if we don't draw it. We probably Charming Prince anyway, to be honest. And just Scry. We do, okay. So we don't. We just take our Scry land and wait to Omen of the Sun next turn. Opponent with a slow one as well, with awkward mana by the looks of it, so just might be okay to take our time. They're not fueling their graveyard particularly fast. We don't have red, but we obviously don't. We cut the Omen of the Forges, so the only red card in our deck is Croxar, so it's not a massive deal that we don't. Opponent, Naked Tiramets. I obviously hope they brick, because it would make my life a lot easier. They do not. They in fact find a Croxer in the process, which is very unfortunate. ECD's not great here, honestly. Yeah, I feel like these Omens aren't very impactful and I should probably have cut one. Maybe even 2. I think I'd rather set myself up to Omen though, because if I draw a land, I'm obviously going to Yorion most of the time, unless my opponent provides me with an Elspeth target. Does not exile. I'm assuming they're bringing back Croxar. Should have a red land, right? Yeah, okay. So turn 4 Croxar for the opponent, obviously very good, and we don't currently have a clean answer to that, which is kind of terrifying. Let's go with Rankle instead. Okay. So drawing an untapped land would be really beneficial. Untapped land would be great, honestly. It's a really big deal if we hit it. It's a real big problem if we miss. Are we just discarding? Opponent is deciding what they're discarding, I guess. What am I discarding? This has to be an ECD, right? Discards an Ox. Ugh. Of course we do miss, which is really shitty. And proceed to mill 2 lands off the Tiramets, which is equally shitty. If they make me discard again, I just have to discard Charming Prince this time and then hope to find my land, because I need to find it. I really do. Opponent tops. Question is if they make me discard twice, right? If they hit me with Rancor and then ball back Croxer, what do I do then? This is really tough. My hand's getting shredded. I really needed to hit land 5 there. Like, really bad. Oh, it's just so good for me if I do. It has to be Yorion, right? It just has to be. I can block Croxer. I have to deal with this. Just my hand's been shredded by my opponent. Alright. If the ECD sticks and doesn't get removed, we might actually be in decent shape. If they have another another Rancor, we're in bad shape. This is rough. Play around. Stomp here. Opponent can choose how, well, what they would rather leave alive. They prefer 2/1/1s over a 2/2. That's fine. Just need to not get blown out by Stomp. Another Tiramets is problematic. It's going to fuel that right back up. Can you imagine if I'd hit my 5th land on time? It's a real shame. I drew a Yorion the hard way. That's reasonable. It's not as good as if this had been alive, but that's pretty good. Certainly can't complain about that. Make some guys, exile the Tiramets. Croxer is online though, so we're taking 3 off of it coming into play. And then we need to find a way to answer it. Cycle shredded sails, sure. That makes me think this Yorion is dead, because they must have another way of killing it cleanly for them to cycle that. The Croxer was already coming back, unless they want to bring back the Ox. If their hand is real jank. I can't see it being that bad. You got 4 cards. So I'm a little surprised. Like, Yorion has to die here, right? Or they're just bringing back Croxer and trying to kill Yorion later, maybe? Oh, this didn't want to pay 4 mana for Shredded Sails, I guess. That might be a thing. Okay. Need a good draw step. Good draw step, please. That is not exactly what I had in mind. I think I gotta be patient here. I don't like it, but I think I have to be. Opponent still has so many cards. How do you still have 4 cards? It's just disgusting. The Omen of the Suns do make Rancor look significantly worse, though. That is something worth acknowledging. Send in the team. Oh, we just start the swamp, obviously, and take 3 damage. How much do I play around removal? This is actually very tough. I'm like unsure I want Yorion to die because I would like to be able to bring back Charming Prince instead of Yorion to start looping these omens. I do have another one though, so that's probably fine. Alright. Let's play around removal. And take 4 in the process. Just load it all in front of Croxer, he can decide what he kills. It's fine. If he wants the Yorion to survive, that's fine. I just bring back Charming Prince and start going that way. If he kills Yorion, I have the backup. Has the Murderous Rider, sure. So we were right to play around it. Because we still get to kill Croxer this way, it just trades for all the tokens. Which I think is fine, honestly. Maya Triton. That's not good. That fuels Croxer back up. It's 1 card away. Didn't want to draw a land. Okay. Prince, +1. You can gain 3, I think. I should have scryed. Should have scryed. That was bad. Definitely should have scryed. Definitely should have scryed. That was awful, Scar. Oh my god. I really hope that's not a massive throw. That was so bad. I'm gaining life off the omens anyway. I just don't need to do that. Oh, that was such a throw. Elspeth's Nightmare is going to kill Charming Prince, so I definitely don't get to keep the loop going. Cast Murderous Rider. So I think I just trade for the tokens because trading for Maya Triton does turn on Croxer next turn. So I think I just do this. If I get Spike Fielded on one of them, it's kind of whatever. Not playing around that. It's just fine. Noodle comes back, flickers these again. So I need some good draw steps. I really need to hit something important. That is not what I meant by that. If I mill a Croxer, however, this could be really good. I don't. Instead I mill a Maze Mine Tome. That's really frustrating. Okay. These Omens have done some heavy lifting. I'm not gonna shit the bed on that one. They've definitely done some work. That's a good one. It's a very good one. Because that is going to allow for Croxer as well, because my opponent has 8 lands. Which means I go back to 17. I think they should have attacked first. If they attack first, they either get in for 2 damage, or I don't block so that they can not keep the Ox. But if I do block the Maya Train, they just get to keep the Ox, right? So they should definitely have attacked first, I think. This is fine. I'm just going to take 2. And we scry with an Omen here. I need a good draw. Both of those are great, right? Pick up Yorion. And Blood Chief's Thirst. Yeah, I think I just want both of these. Seems very good. I get to even pick up the Prince. If Yorion stays alive, then I can start looping again. Oh, I milled the Blood Chiefs first because of the Maya Train. I shouldn't have flickered this. That was bad. Making some small mistakes here. It is 2 AM in the morning where I am. So, the fatigue is kicking in a bit. Oh, Castle is a fine draw. I lose the Charming Prince. Fuck, that was bad. Alright, I'm starting to make some mistakes, so I need this game to wrap up and get there, because my focus is slipping. Fuck me, really? Oh my god, how? I can't cast a Croxer if I hit one anyway, so I don't. Oh, brutal. What a hit off the top of your deck. This just draw 3. It's like, oh, bruh. Ugh. Bruh. Can you stop? How many Orions do I have left? 1, right? I think it's better to crack this. Because if I do draw exactly Yorion, I'm going to want to. Scrying doesn't help me, right? Because I mill everything but the top card. So 3 cards in the bin currently. I think I just bought on both of these. Oh, that's so frustrating. Opponent's drawn so well. We've had a couple of good ones too, in fairness. Wow, just duresses me to set up the damn croc. So there goes my other Yorion. Fuck. Yeah, this one's slipping, and it's slipping away real fast. Oh, wow. Takes me off of blocking the Croxer even. Jeez. Let's get some information. Alright. That gives me information, alright. Opponent is up 1 card because of Castle Lochthwain. They'll be up a 2nd card shortly after that. Oh, please stop. I can't take it. Need to leave up Croxer Manor in case I hit it. My graveyard's going to be gone in a second, so I need to hit it now. I certainly do not. Just Hagra Maulings for 2/2. Puts it to 5 cards in the bin. What a match. Opponent's Croxed me so many times this game. I can't block this. One card away, man. Oh, what? Feels so bad. One card off milling it away last turn. Just couldn't do it. Opponent exiled our graveyard, and now I can't bring it back. They're discarding the Blood Chief's Thirst. I am dead. I have to be. Losing the 4th round out of 4 feels like dick, bruh. Let's just cling to dust. Okay. Alright. So, not technically dead, but in pretty awful shape. About as bad as it gets. They bring this one back. They can't just yet, but yeah, this is Opponent just drew better than us in some pretty pivotal spots. We drew some blanks, they ripped an Ox. We drew a blank, they ripped a castle. You know, we failed to mill Croxer. This is 4 cards. I mean, technically I'm now not dead again. But I'm not entirely sure for how long that's the case. Because we are on 1. And fragilely so. Yeah, I mean, I have to block, right? Give my opponent a 2-2. They got 5 cards in the grave. If they could put a card in the bin, we lose. Yeah. Oh, man. That is brutal.